Do you remember the first time you went to the racetrack? Probably not, right?
No, probably not.
What's your first memory of the racetrack?
Concord. Going to Concord.
The original track.
Mm-hmm.
Off 73, right?
Off 73.
So, do you remember when they were taking that place and tearing it down?
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I didn't think it was a good idea.
Why not?
Cause it should have stayed forever, I guess.
Yeah.
What was good about it? I only heard y'all talk about it.
Well, it's just a hometown track, like everybody else got.
Was it like quarter mile, half mile? What was
half
it?
mile.
Half mile.
Yeah. Had long straightaways. I can see Daddy going in the corner now, throwing that thing sideways. Haul the mail.
Who was his toughest competition?
Stick Elliott, Billy Scott,
Mm.
Don Bumgarner.
Who was the guy that he got into? Who's the guy he didn't like to race? Who was
I
the
don't
guy?
know if he didn't like to race anybody. But
Who was the guy that you didn't like watching him race?
Billy Scott, probably.
Why?
Because Billy had a really fast car, and it was fast down the straightaway, so when he got to the corner, he'd slow down more, and there's Daddy. He was right up his butt, and he would follow him the whole race, and then that last lap, and there's Daddy, and he come down, and he spun out.
Every time?
Not every time, but a lot of times.
I didn't like it when Dad and Bodine got around each other, right?
No.
So, but Ralph probably didn't have a Bodine type character that.
Well, Stick Elliott, ended up driving for Daddy when
Yeah.
Daddy had heart problems, but probably Stick was the kind of guy. He was like a Dale Earnhardt. He was like, he would knock you out of the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody knock Ralph out of the way?
Not many times I remember. They couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
This would have been before your time, probably, but we told that story at Columbia Speedway where Bobby Isaac and Ralph had quite a bit of a rivalry, and they got mad at each other. And in the newspapers, Bobby Isaac declared open war on Ralph Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Do you have any recollections or anything about that?
No, I don't. But I just heard stories for years about Daddy going to Hickory and being, 10-time champion or something, and they finally barred him. The only time he could go back there was to run the championship race each year. The only reason he could go there because they barred him from the track because the fans quit coming because he won every week. That's a fact.
Being too good get you banned from a track?
Yes, it did then.
Did they ever do bounties on him?
Yeah, they did bounties on Daddy all the time at Hickory and Metronina. They sure did.
When you were a kid and Ralph was racing, a lot of the racers would come to the house,
Yep.
eat dinner.
Well, not really, but sometimes. They come to Daddy for parts
help.
and stuff and help. But he didn't help that many people.
It
Really?
sounds like he did.
No.
He was
didn't really help
selective?
us. Yeah, it was more selective, I think, for him.
What was it about those drivers?
He didn't mind, just like Ralph Urey, he didn't mind helping Ralph. I don't know if you could say it's because he knew he could outdrive him, maybe. I don't know. But he didn't mind giving him equal equipment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as anybody else that I remember, he might help him, but he wasn't going to go overboard.
What did you do to a race car to set it up to go race the dirt in the 60s or 70s?
I have no idea.
Like when you was helping Ralph with that car warming it up.
Yeah.
What would you don't know nothing about setting
No.
the car up?
No, I just warmed it up.
Did you watch him work on it?
Yeah.
Well-
But he just done with his thing, and
What was his thing?
leaf springs was big back then. I don't know. I remember having to go pick him up at the leaf spring place, and a certain truck or springs that he wanted in that car back then. You didn't have coil springs; you had a leaf spring,
Yeah.
and they had to be just right, and that's what he won with.
Okay. Well, was it just regular maintenance otherwise? Like
Yeah.
packing bearings and stuff?
More or
like
less, is regular maintenance and motors.
that? What about the motor?
He rebuilt them probably every 3 or 4 races or something.
Wow, really?
Yep.
What else was he doing to supplement income and
Well, in the winter, he worked on some people's cars, just a
Street
few
cars.
not much. It wasn't like other people. He just do odds and ends, and he works at Uncle Dub because he worked at the turf shop in Charlotte.
Uncle Dub did?
Yes.
Okay. Is that his
And-
brother?
No,
Who's
that's
Uncle Dub?
That's Mama's brother.
Okay.
But they had a turf shop, and they had them big lawnmowers that had, I don't know what you call them, they had like blades going way out.
Yeah.
So he got in this deal about taking those things in the wintertime, and he had a drill press over there, and he'd drill them out and put brass bushings in those, all the mower things, and put them all back together or whatever. And that's what he did in the wintertime
Really?
for years.
So, what did you know of Ralph's? Did Ralph have any brothers and sisters?
Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know him?
Gene, Uncle Gene, he lived in
Yep.
Kannapolis. I knew him. And Jay was in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Aubrey, he was in Kannapolis. I knew all of them.
All right. Did you know their parents?
Mm,
Did you know your grandparents
I know, no,
on Ralph's side?
just no,
Nope.
never had none.
They were deceased before
Mhm.
you. Okay.
And then Mama's mama and daddy, her daddy was dead, and her mama was sick by the time I started knowing anything. So,
Yeah. You came along late.
well, yeah, I was the last one.
Yeah. So, when you're carrying tires all these years, so you carried tires for Dad's Xfinity team or his Busch team all through the '80s. They didn't race every week yet, but when you carried tires for Dad's Xfinity team, what do you remember about that group? Why was that group so special?
Because of your dad.
Why?
Just because it really didn't matter about pit stops, usually.
Didn't matter if they were fast?
No.
What about the people, though, that were on that team?
They were all good guys, and they were more hometown guys,
Yeah.
you know, not no athletes or nothing like that.
Buddies.
Yeah.
People you knew.
Yep.
Anybody we would know? Any names?
Yeah. Mike Harmon, he knows him.
Oh wow.
Mike Harmon
Yeah.
and Rick Boss
Yep.
worked for you. He jacked, actually. I guess you knew that
Yep.
back in the day. There's a funny story about him jacking.
Tell it.
Well, I think we was at Road Atlanta, and the radio went out in Dale's car, and we had a pit stop. And I think maybe we changed the lefts or whatever. So we was going to pit again, and we said we was going to change the rights or whatever. He said, "I don't know which way y'all going, but I'm going on the left," or something like that. So it was funny. You had to be there to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Then at Charlotte one time, he about got hit on a pit stop. So the next pit stop, we all got over and changed tires, and Rick ain't nowhere around. He come around behind the car because he didn't want to get hit.
That's funny.
And that was probably about his last
That was his last
jacking job.
I bet. Yeah. Rick did things his way.
He was his first employee, drove the truck, all that stuff.
Yep.
Been around a long time.
Rick Boss was Dad's first employee at Earnhardt Racing. Hired him in '76, I think. And he worked till he retired from here, pretty much.
Yeah, 'cause you
working
hired
for
him.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say that group of guys was what kind of, no athletes, I look at that team as a bunch of buddies. Like Rick, they were, Rick Boss, but also like some of Tony's buddies,
Yeah.
family, relatives, you, cousins and brothers and uncles and all that stuff. And that team stayed intact pretty much all the way into the Cup deal
Yeah.
when I started driving.
Yeah.
Which is kind of remarkable considering when you look at race teams today,
Mm-hmm.
over the wall teams, all athletes. But so what was it like, I guess, to go when Dad stopped driving the car and y'all went full time? Did you think about, were you still going to do it? Did you have any thoughts about maybe not going full time, going every single week? Because when Dad raced, y'all ran 12 races a year.
12 races.
Now you got, Jeff Green's going to drive the car.
No, they just let me keep doing it, so I just kept doing it.
You were happy to do it.
Yeah.
How much was it paying?
I think when I started, I was making maybe $75 or something.
Over a race.
Yeah, we might not even got paid to start with. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But then it was probably like 75 or something like that. And then later on, I was making 400, 500.
A race?
Yeah, 500 or 600 maybe.
At the end?
Yeah, and I still wasn't making what them tire changers making.
Oh God.
No, of course
Ridiculous
not.
amount.
They're making stupid money now.
A funny story though, your daddy, when the first time they run New Hampshire when they built that track,
Mhm.
they went up early, I guess, and checked in and everything. So we got there the day we need to be there for pit crew. We walked up there, and the guy that used to do tickets, Marvin? Is it Marvin?
Mm-hmm.
We walked up.
Marlin.
Marlin.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, Dale said he's got y'all's tickets. I already took care of them." I said, do what? He said, yep. He said, I know Danny Earnhardt ain't going to have but over $20 in his pocket. So he went ahead and paid for everybody. I think it was $45 or something because he knew I wasn't going to have enough money to get in.
That's funny.
So after that, every week we'd go get our tickets. Back then, you had to go in the office to get them. I'd say, Marlindale's done took care of it. He's don't even start.
Yeah.
That ain't true.
So I was talking about earlier, you and Dad had a pretty good relationship. Describe your relationship to me. I mean, he told you to hold off on hiring you at DEI.
Yeah.
If you're his brother and you come to him and you're like, hey, I want to do this, why didn't he do it? Why did he make you wait?
I don't know why.
But he's your brother. Why didn't you tell him? Damn it.
I just didn't get around to telling him again because I was still carrying tires, and my job at the mill, like I said, had 5 weeks vacation. I just sort of done what I wanted to, and it just didn't happen.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
It was good, but all of us are sort of like a race fan in a way because he was traveling, gone all the time. He was gone. You know what I mean? So actually, people he traveled with at the racetrack or seen or talked to or went out to lunch with, they knew more about him than I did. Because we didn't see him but maybe once a week, if that. Even if I was going to the shop to change tire or practice pit stops and stuff, you might not see him,
Right.
So I had a good relationship, but it wasn't buddy. I didn't hang out with him to go hunting and all that because I had a job. So
yeah. So you told Dad that you thought I could drive a race car after the Myrtle Beach race. I appreciate that. Didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did that. But so when we're going to go race in the Xfinity Series full time, what'd you think about that?
I thought it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you talking about when you went?
Yeah, when I was getting in the car.
Yeah, it wouldn't be no other solution. That'd be great.
You thought it was good?
Oh, yeah.
Had when we went and flipped Daytona, and then I think we run crappy at Rockingham, our best race, I guess, was the next one at Vegas. I think we were in second. But it didn't take long. We kind of got going pretty good.
Yeah, we did.
Did the relationship with Dad change at all?
I don't remember it changing any because...
Didn't think you saw him more?
No.
No?
No.
We saw him more in Victory Lane.
Yeah. Which is the best moment for the first couple.
Well, I mean, there's some times when there's some Victory Lane stuff, when I watch them old races, he would always see you. You would always see him in Victory Lane. Mm-hmm. There was always a moment where you and him would backslap.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't like that with everybody.
No. I mean, I guess I just didn't realize it or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah.
You had your nephew running for you. I mean, you guys are so interesting because Dale Jr. shows up. Everybody has an opinion. Did you guys ever have conversations as, nephew and uncle? Or was it literally always a team and a professional relationship?
I find, it's hard to believe, but we hardly talked.
It's not actually, it's hard to believe.
I think it's our mentality or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So nothing. Even when Dale Jr. shows up with his hair dyed or anything, you don't have a single reaction.
No, it's cool. Whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, they thought that was all right.
Yeah.
I was all right.
I got you. What was the dynamics between Tony Jr. and Dale Jr.?
They were buddy for a long time until he wasn't.
No, yeah, we're not going there. We're going like that year, the first year of the 98.
Yeah,
they were almost like buddies, I would assume, right?
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
What about Tony Sr.?
He was more like a daddy figure in a way. He's the one that come down on him.
Did you think that he kept everybody in check?
Pops? Yeah.
So, this is the thing. So, we go, you'll remember this, Atlanta. Y'all were, I think Jeff Green's driving for y'all. When did you come in? Did you travel just race days?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, how did you travel most of the time?
Well, I guess to begin with, we might have been driving a lot.
Yeah.
But then we started flying.
King Airs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
King Air.
You never came in early, Thursday night?
Only when we did would be like if later on we was doing special bush cars for something and we'd go, I was a tire guy a lot of times for that or whatever. Yeah, we'd go early.
What happened in Atlanta?
I don't think he was there. it was a situation where we go to me and Carrie.
Oh, wait a minute. I was there.
Yeah. Okay. So, somehow me and Carrie are going to go with the Bush team. They're doing. They got Jeff Green driving for them. We're going to go with them just to go. And we rode with them in a 15-passenger van all the way to Atlanta. And they were saying as we get closer and closer to the hotel, they got a great bar in this hotel. We're going to go in there as soon as we get there. We're going in there. We're going to start, going to drink. We're going in that bar. It's a great bar. And me and Carrie are hearing that. We're like, man, that sounds fun. We're going to go upstairs and put our bags in our room first and settle in. I'm not a drinker. Carrie wasn't much of a drinker either. So we get to the hotel, and as soon as we get to the hotel, we walk in the lobby. They set all their bags down against the wall in the lobby of this hotel and walked right in the bar and left their bags. I mean, pile of bags, right? Didn't even check in. Maybe they checked in, but didn't go upstairs. Me and Carrie are like, well, I ain't leave my bag laying here in the middle of the lobby all day. So we take our stuff upstairs, come back downstairs, and they're in that bar, and we sat in that bar and drank all night. And then Carrie threw up, I threw up. And Carrie had some kind of...
You said like a spleen problem?
Spleen, yeah. He had something taken out, whereas whatever separates alcohol in your blood. He had an operation. He wasn't really supposed to drink a bunch. And he passed out, and I was worried about him. But I could hear Tony Sr. coming up the hallway and laughing and carrying on. I'm like, Tony Sr., you got to get in here. I think Carrie's dead.
I remember that.
Yep. And he walked in there. He goes, he ain't dead. he just drunk, passed out. So we went to sleep. Me and Carrie threw up all over that hotel room, and Dad got the bill, and it was a big trouble. But
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because I drank the little bar and all up too, didn't
we drank all of it. Yeah. Anyways, so when y'all were with Tony Sr. and all that on the weekends like that, was he strict on all the guys, or just me and Tony Jr.?
Probably just you and Tony Jr.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I think the rest of them just sort of done what they wanted to. I know Clark and Scott Daniels, they went on some adventures.
Yeah, they did.
But they didn't. He didn't stop them.
No.
It's just if you hadn't showed up.
The next
But
day.
see, there's stories about them too, like when we was doing a 12 race deal and going to Daytona for freaking 8 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they had
There's
fun,
some of
I'm
them
sure.
Pops and Tony Jr. stories too, like laying up the top of the hauler.
Sleeping.
Oh yeah, trying to get over the night before.
Oh, I bet.
They ran hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had one guy went with us. He never. We missed him for days.
Who?
Pickle.
His name was Pickle for a reason.
Yeah, it got him. He didn't survive it.
Nope.
But yeah, he'd go with us, and he'd be gone. I don't know where he'd be.
That happened to somebody else, or was that the one story you're telling me where you were in Vegas, I believe, and somebody, was it maybe your bus driver, or that just showed up?
Yeah.
That's not the same. It's not the same story, is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess with y'all's crowd, it wasn't that unusual for somebody not to show up for a couple of days at the racetrack.
It was a little looser back then.
Yeah.
The racing was.
Oh, yeah.
All things were. I mean, if you got a 12 race schedule and Dale Earnhardt's your driver.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
You can show up drunk.
Yeah, that's one of the maddest Pops ever got when he went to Daytona. I think he maybe run the first practice, but then they had another one or something. And Dale said, I ain't run it. And he got so mad at him because he wouldn't run it, you know.
Oh, so, okay. Talk about Pops and Dale. They had a run-in? Was that common?
It wasn't common, but it's
But-
just one of them things like, you know, Pop's being competitive. He wanted to be on track when there's a practice. You wouldn't go out when there's a practice. You got to go out.
Where did they get into it at?
That
Like
was it.
for that one? In the garage?
Yeah, probably at the hall or whatever. I don't know. He just,
nothing public.
Nah, he just got mad.
But what does Dale Earnhardt say to Tony Sr. when he goes after him?
He just tells him what he's going to do, and that's it. You ain't got no leg to stand on.
I don't know.
There ain't no argument, I'm going to tell you that.
Really? Because I
No.
feel like Pops could hold his own in an argument with
Oh,
just
yeah.
about anybody.
I don't think he could with Dale.
Not
Sr.
really?
I don't think so. You can ask him, but I don't think so.
Who could go toe-to-toe with Dale Earnhardt in an argument? And he...
Memo?
Maybe Memo.
Really?
Maybe. But no. That's the other thing. When Dad died, we more or less, Dale, when he started being popular and everything. We was a race fan, of course, being his brother and all, but it was almost like another father figure in a way. To me, it was, because we all looked up to him. If you needed something, you know, whatever, it was him.
All right, guys, I know a little bit about cars, so believe me when I tell you that Tire Pros, they're the real deal. They've got great people, great service, and they can take care of all your automotive maintenance needs. Plus, they're a sponsor of this show, so you know they got great taste in podcasts. So check out Tire Pros. Follow them on Facebook and tell them that I sent you.